Good evening. It's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. Dramatic developments in West Bengal as Chief Minister says she was attacked in Nandigram. Mamata says 4 to 5 people surrounded her. She's getting into a car. The car door was shut on her. Her leg is hurt. Severe pain in the waist. You can see these visuals of the security guards actually lifting the Chief Minister into the car. Mamata says no security personnel were around her. The BJP asks how is the Chief Minister's security breached, calling this a drama. BJP MP Tirath Singh Rawat is Uttarakhand's new Chief Minister, a surprise choice with Prime Minister Modi's backing. The Haryana government wins a Congress-sponsored vote of confidence easily despite farmers' pressure. BJP allies stay united in voting today. The Congress says we have raised the issues of farmers strongly in the House. Senior Congress leader from Kerala, PC Chako, quits on the eve of elections, saying there's no democracy in the Congress anymore. The Kerala State Congress chief says it's an emotional outburst. We hope he reconsiders. A Bengaluru woman claims that she's been beaten by a Zomato delivery boy who entered her house, says she has a nasal fracture. The police arrest the Zomato delivery executive. Zomato says we are assisting in any way possible. India's largest floating solar power plant now coming up in Telangana. Our breaking news tonight. Just look at these visuals. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, who filed her nomination from Nandigram today, says she was injured as a mob surrounded her, 4 to 5 people, as she's getting into her car. She says that they closed the car door on her. She says her leg is severely injured and there's pain in her waist as well. She's cut short an Nandigram visit and is being rushed back to Kolkata.
দিদি এটা কি ইচ্ছাকৃত করা হয়েছে? দিদি ইচ্ছাকৃত, দিদি আপনার পা ফুলে রয়েছে, দিদি পা ফুলে রয়েছে, দিদি হাসপাতালে যাচ্ছেন তো?
The 66-year-old Chief Minister seemed visibly in pain. However, the BJP is already terming this a drama, asking is there a Taliban in West Bengal and where was the Chief Minister's security?
ये क्या तालिबान है कि ममता बनर्जी के काफिले पर अटैक होगा? 300 पुलिस रहती है उनके सिक्योरिटी में, 300 पुलिस और रास्ते में कम से कम 4000 पुलिस। तो ममता बनर्जी के पास पहुंचता कौन है? उनकी सिक्योरिटी। तो सिक्योरिटी जो SS4 IPS को उन्होंने सिक्योरिटी इंचार्ज बनाकर रखा है, तो चारों को तो पहले सस्पेंड करना चाहिए। और अटैक करने वाला आदमी कोई हवा में तो आके अटैक नहीं किया, उसने भूत तो नहीं था कि भूत आके अटैक कर गया, तो उसको पकड़ना भी चाहिए था। ममता बनर्जी ने फिर एक सिंपैथी लेने के लिए नाटक किया और कुछ नहीं।
So politics there over this as well. Let's go across to Saurabh, who is in Nandigram. Saurabh, what are the details we now have of what actually happened with the Chief Minister?
Well, Sonia, the details are quite clear. In fact, what we know so far from what the Chief Minister herself said and also what we've now picked up from sources. And I can quote from one of the Trinamool MPs who's here. He said that after, as she offered puja at another temple, there was a massive response everywhere. At about 6:15 p.m. when she was about to leave the Birulia Anchal, after performing puja, a few unknown persons pushed her to the car and forcibly shut down the door, as a result of which she sustained injuries in her left leg and also suffered severe pain in the waist, I beg your pardon. So that's what's happened. Now, in quite dramatic fashion, Mamata Banerjee's car arrived here and she was about to go into that lane, which is her house. And before that could happen, the car stopped. The officers, personal security officers in charge, who always travel with the Chief Minister, conferred amongst themselves, conferred with the Chief Minister and decided that they wouldn't go to the home, they would rush her to Kolkata immediately. Then again, we saw some dramatic visuals because Mamata Banerjee had hurt her leg. She couldn't get out of the car. So her personal security officer had to literally cradle her out of the front seat and then take her to the back seat where she, laid down, and that is in the condition in which the convoy moved towards Kolkata. We are being given to understand she's going to be taken to
visuals, as you
either
pointed out,
SSKM or Bellevue
extremely
Hospital.
disturbing visuals there, as you pointed out, that of the security guard lifting her in. There's clearly the Chief Minister, 66 years old, been in the heart of this campaign, invisible pain there, despite, of course, the BJP dismissing it as drama. This doesn't seem to be drama. We can see her wincing as she is actually physically lifted into the car. And, of course, a hectic campaign schedule ahead for her. And even before, a packed day as she filed her nominations from Nandigram today. This, of course, is where she will be facing ex-key aide Trivendra Adhikari, who will now be the BJP candidate. And he inaugurated his party office as well. So the battle for West Bengal really encapsulated in the constituency of Nandigram.
As Mamata Banerjee comes in to file her nomination. A young man even dressed up as a batsman and said Mamata Banerjee will hit everyone for a six.
हमारा ओपनिंग बैट्समैन दीदी है।
कितना स्कोर होगा दीदी का?
दीदी का 221 स्कोर है। 211 था, इस बार 221 होगा।
But for Mamata Banerjee, who filed her nomination today, this election is not a sport. It's a deadly battle that she has chosen to fight from Nandigram, where she fought for its farmers in 2007. Nandigram is not just any assembly seat, she said. It is an emotion.
I salute to people of Nandigram. আমি স্যালুট করছি এই কারণে যে আমি অনেক সময় বলি বলতে পারি নিজের নাম বলবো না কোন নন্দীগ্রাম নন্দীগ্রামের আরেক নাম সংগ্রাম সেই সংগ্রামী জায়গায় আমি নিজে স্ট্রিট ফাইটার
Trivendra Adhikari, her former minister, now BJP's candidate for Nandigram, mocked Mamata Banerjee today for multiple temple visits and mistakes in reciting prayers to goddess Durga, all to prove her Hinduness, he said.
She is scared. Her appeasement politics now reverse. For that reason, she is uttering wrong Hindu mantra.
Trivendra Adhikari describes himself as a son of the soil. And he says Mamata Banerjee will lose, while Mamata Banerjee says he will lose because he hasn't fulfilled his responsibility towards Nandigram. The big constituency, the blockbuster constituency of Nandigram is no longer a battle of issues, but a battle over personalities.
A twist to that battle, the outsider-insider fight. So far, of words. Now on Nandigram's walls, Shubhendu Bhumiputro, Mamata Bohiragato, say some. Countered by banners saying Bengal only wants its own daughter. Mamata Banerjee returns to Kolkata Thursday to launch the Trinamool Manifesto. Trivendra Adhikari files his nomination Friday. 1st April will decide who is David and who is Goliath in this blockbuster battle for Bengal. With GD Shankar, Habib Ali and Saurav Gupta, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
Moving to the other headlines, well, a surprise choice. Lok Sabha BJP MP Tirath Singh Rawat was sworn in as the new Chief Minister of Uttarakhand today with just a year to the elections. The low-profile Tirath Singh Rawat is said to have Prime Minister Modi's personal approval.
The Uttarakhand churn now complete. Amid concerns of infighting and questions on the leadership ability of Trivendra Singh Rawat, the BJP decided to replace him with another Rawat, BJP MP from Pauri, Tirath Singh Rawat.
मैं कह सकता हूं कि जो दिशा निर्देशन उनका रहेगा और जो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने कहा सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, उसको लेकर आगे बढ़ेंगे और जिस तरह चौमुखी विकास इस उत्तराखंड का माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट अपना लेकर चले हैं और यहाँ मुख्यमंत्री त्रिवेंद्र जी ने उसको आगे बढ़ाया है, उसको लेकर के मैं आगे बढ़ूंगा.
56-year-old Tirath Singh was the chief of the party in Uttarakhand in 2013 to 2015. A surprising yet interesting choice for the post. Sources have told NDTV that the decision was taken with the express approval of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Tirath Singh, is not identified with any faction in the Uttarakhand BJP. The BJP was faced with the challenge of balancing two groups, old-time BJP players and imports from the Congress who were both pitching for their candidate. Tirath Singh Rawat has the task of leading the BJP into polls due in February 2022 with just about a year to turn things around. Like his predecessor, he too is low profile and not known for great flamboyance. The BJP is banking heavily on his organizational skills and his strong RSS background for building a bridge between all factions and leading the party to victory. Bureau Report, NDTV.
In other news, for the third day running, Parliament continued to be disrupted in both houses. They will now meet only next Monday after Shivratri. Friday also a break. This as the opposition is demanding discussions on rising fuel prices and farmers.
Sir, I am requesting you allow under 267 rule to discuss this issue. It will not be fair without taking notice of these three. We can't proceed, sir.
This House, in this session itself, first part itself, has discussed about farmers' issue and farmers' agitation, and then we have taken it up. So I am not going to allow it. I have disallowed the notice.
Well, in other news, the Congress's no-confidence motion against the BJP-led the Khattar and the Deputy Chief Minister Dushyant Chautala government was defeated today. This as BJP MLAs, of course, and all the JJP MLAs and independents all voted in favour of the BJP. So the Congress hoped that there would be some split over the farmers' issue. Didn't come true. The Chief Minister said that he hoped the Congress would keep bringing these kind of votes of no confidence. However, the Congress said they had scored moral points by raising the issues of farmers.
अविश्वास प्रस्ताव के जो 32 सदस्य अविश्वास प्रस्ताव के पक्ष में अपने स्थान पर खड़े हुए हैं और 55 सदस्य अविश्वास प्रस्ताव के विपक्ष में अपने स्थान पर खड़े हुए।
In just 6 hours, the Congress no-confidence motion against the Khattar government collapsed. The final numbers indicated that despite the backlash against the farm bill, the BJP and its allies did not crack. What was especially remarkable was unity among all 10 MLAs of the Jat-dominated JJP, the BJP ally led by Dushyant Chautala. This despite Jat anger against the farm bill, with JJP MLAs facing gheraos by protesters who promised to defeat them if they voted in favour of the Chief Minister. Dushyant even took pot shots at the Congress's Bhupender Singh Hooda.
1 तारीख से प्रोक्योरमेंट शुरू करवाओ और वहां पर भी ग्वार बाजरे की और तो और हम तो हौसले के साथ कहते हैं इस बार जो खरीदेंगे आप अनाउंसमेंट तो कराकर पंजाब में राजस्थान में दिखाओ.
Even though the result was a foregone conclusion, Mr. Hooda claimed that had the speaker allowed secret voting, the story would have been different.
जब ये गांव में हलकों में नहीं जा सकते और हेलीकॉप्टर लेके कोई कैमरा में जाता है, वहाँ हेलीकॉप्टर लैंड नहीं किया जाता, कोई हेलीकॉप्टर लेके चौटाला में जाता है ना उचाना में जाता है, वहाँ हेलीकॉप्टर नहीं जाता.
The Chief Minister, who spoke almost for an hour, appealed to the opposition to not instigate the farmers.
एक ही बात कहूंगा कि अगर घर को आग लग रही हो, तेल डालने का काम विपक्ष का नहीं है. विपक्ष की मर्यादाएं समझ लें. हाँ, आप लोग जा के जो वहां भड़काते हैं, आपके लोग भड़काते हैं.
The BJP-JJP government managed to defeat the no-confidence motion moved by the opposition Congress. But as of now, it is a win-win situation for both the parties. Congress will go to the town saying that we have exposed who are the MLAs who didn't side with farmers. While for BJP-JJP government, it is certainly a victory that despite opposition from the farmers, they have managed to save their government. In Chandigarh, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
In other news, just before the Kerala state elections, the senior Congress leader from Kerala, PC Chacko, has quit the party, saying that there was no democracy left in the Congress. Mr. Chacko, who had earlier was the General Secretary in charge of Delhi, was also a signatory part of the G23 to a letter asking for changes in the Congress. However, another G23 leader, Anand Sharma, has said that there is no factionalism within the Congress.
Congress party in Kerala is working as two separate parties, not one party. One is A group, one is I group. These two groups are working as two different parties. So they are dividing all the constituencies and putting up their candidates. There is no common discussion. So winnability is never the criteria, but it is the apportioning of the positions between two groups.
No comment. But this is not a matter of public debate. Sorry. People can have their opinions, expressions. These are issues which concern the party. Don't expect me to comment on it. We have not commented in public on matters which are organized. Right now, our priority is to fight the BJP government, to oppose its wrong policies.
Well, moving on to other news, there's not just our politics, of course, the COVID pandemic. What's the latest on that and vaccinations in India? Rishika has the details.
Well, thanks so much, Sonia. 17,921 new cases in 24 hours. What does this really look like in terms of absolute numbers? I will get you India's COVID-19 curve, but I want to show you this. Maharashtra has contributed 9,900 cases, almost 10,000 cases in the last 24 hours. Kerala with over 2,300 cases in the last 24 hours. And let's just scroll down and get you the worrying story from Punjab, which has seen over 1,000 cases in 24 hours. So this is what the daily COVID curve currently looks like. So India's cases, remember, peaked in September, after which we've seen a downward trajectory. But if I can just zoom in and show you here, the number of cases are once again rising. So this is a worrying story. However, the race is between COVID-19 rising numbers and India's pace of vaccination. This is what India's vaccine tracker currently looks like. The good news is that since March, when the second phase of vaccination has in fact been underway, there has been a constant uptake as far as the number of vaccines we're delivering. So let me just look at today's numbers. For instance, so far we have till today vaccinated over 13.5 lakh people. So this is a huge number. But let me also quickly get you the big news update that we're tracking as far as the India vaccine story is concerned. Covaxin may no longer need to be in clinical trial mode. The SEC has recommended to the DCGI that you can remove Covaxin, the clinical trial mode approval that was given. This is a recommendation at the moment. However, why is this happening? That's important. This is a decision that's been taken after going through Covaxin's interim trial data, which was 81%. This data, however, still needs to be peer reviewed.
Rishika, thanks so much for that update. Let's just take a quick look now at some other news. Well, in Bengaluru, a woman has claimed that a Zomato delivery executive entered her house and attacked her so severely that her nasal bone was fractured. The delivery executive has now been arrested on basis of her complaint. Zomato has also said they will offer all assistance possible. But really, there's shocking visuals. This woman claiming that this Zomato delivery executive entered her home, assaulted her over a fight of a delayed order. Well, moving now to an amazing story. Just look at these visuals. The National Thermal Power Corporation is now setting up India's largest floating solar power plant in Telangana. What does a floating plant mean? It means that the solar panels will actually be floating. It will have an installed capacity of 100 megawatt. It's spread over 450 acres. It's good news for green energy as well, because this is part of India's plan to move away from coal-powered plants to there we see this floating solar power plant.